and if everyone joins. You could just consent to the recording. Don't worry, I'll edit you all out so you won't be in the recording at all. And then if you see me come back to the computer, you know that I'm just trying to let people in. So very welcome everyone for this yoga for mental exhaustion. Especially helpful if you're feeling a little bit tired, exhausted, maybe your brain feels a bit fried, but also feeling a bit wired through the body. So we're going to go through some pranayama or breath practices and soothe ourselves to end with some restorative yoga poses to activate the parasympathetic relaxation response in the body and also rejuvenate from feelings of exhaustion. So in terms of props, if you know restorative yoga, you know it's quite prop heavy, but I've kind of given you a few replacements for bolsters if you don't have. So if you've got two sleeping pillows, grab them. If you have a bolster, grab the bolster instead. Any cushions or anything you can get your hands on might be quite helpful. Highly recommend a blanket or something to cover the eyes. And also 2 bricks. If you practice with me at home, you should have access to 2 bricks. If you're on my membership, I know you do, but if not, just grab your 2 bricks. If you don't have them, don't worry. So we're going to come up to a comfortable seated position to begin with. So I'm going to start in Sukhasana, which is cross-legged pose. And if you like to have a little bit of height, then you might sit on a folded up blanket or a cushion just to elevate the hips a little bit. If sitting cross-legged doesn't quite feel comfortable for you, then just come into any comfortable seated position that works. Resting the hands on the knees or the thighs, palms facing up or facing down. And have a sense of alertness through the spine. So the spine is erect but not too rigid. There's some sense of softness through the shoulders, the jaw, and the forehead. It might feel quite natural to close the eyes or maybe just relaxing the gaze downwards. And just starting to draw the attention inwards. So we'll start with a pranayama or a breath control technique called Brahmari breathing or humming bee breath. Brahmari breathing, we're going to take 6 rounds of this where we're going to inhale through the nose and then exhale through the nose with a humming sound. It sounds something like this, breathing in. And then keep going until all of the breath has left the body. And we're going to take 3 rounds with the hands on the knees or the thighs. And an additional 3 rounds, I'm going to give you the option of cupping the ears around, so cupping the hands around the ears. Just helps to kind of draw the attention inwards. So if you're like, Tash, I'm not really quite feeling this pranayama vibe, then just feel free to sit and focus on your breathing. If you want to join me, we're going to start by allowing all of the air to leave the body. And when you're ready, inhaling fully through the nose. Keep going, breathing in. Mm. 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 Additional 3 rounds, option to cup the hands around the ears. Mm. Once you finish that last breath, we'll rest the hands back down, palms facing up for receiving. And just let the breath resume back to normal. We'll make our way into our first restorative posture. So you stay in a seated position for a little bit longer if you want. I'm going to come into supported reclining bound angle pose or Supta Baddha Konasana, where we're going to initiate just a gentle back bend through your body. So if you've got a bolster, placing the bolster behind you. I'm going to demonstrate with pillows here because I know that most people just have pillows. So stacking one of the pillows on top of the other, and we're going to keep adding props here. So if you've got a cushion, then placing that at the top of your pillows. And then if you like a little softness for the back of the neck, you might place a blanket on top of that pillow. So just think height away from the ground. And then we're going to turn the body around. So facing away from the props that you've created behind you. And then options with the legs. If you want to come into Baddha Konasana legs, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and knees apart. Think about taking more of a chill diamond shape here. So rather than really forcing the feet really close towards the body, we want to take more of a kind of chilled shape, feet slightly away from the body. If you want a bit of support for the hips here, you might think about sliding some cushions, maybe blankets or blocks underneath, just to support the opening of those hips. If you're like, oh, Tash, not quite feeling the hip opening vibe, you don't have props to support the outside of your knees, then you can just allow the legs to go long. This might be quite a nice option too, just allowing the feet to flop away from each other. So just setting up nice and slow, there's no rush. And then making sure you've got something to cover the eyes. If you don't like anything to cover the eyes, then you might just close the eyes. Going to slide the pillows or the bolster towards the low back. So just make sure there's contact to begin with. And then hands come down either side of your props to guide the spine all the way down. So it's supporting the spine. You might need to rearrange the pillows, the cushions here, just so it's supporting the back of the head. And then you might come down and notice that you want to change the positioning of the leg. That's totally natural. If you want to just stretch out the legs, that's also very welcome. If you feel like you want to add a little bit more height to your back bend, then just keep adding cushions and pillows. I highly recommend using sleeping pillows instead of cushions just because they're a little bit wider to support the spine. And we're not pushing into any deep stretch here. So in restorative yoga, we don't want to feel deep sensation. We just want to support parts of the body to relax. Taking any last little movements that you need to get yourself that 5 to 10% more comfortable in whatever position you find yourself in. If you're experiencing higher levels of stress and anxiety, you might explore placing the palms on the body itself. So one palm on the belly, one palm on the chest, or both hands on the abdomen. If you're quite low on energy, maybe even low on mood, you might want to explore placing the palms facing up either side of the body, and then just allowing the fingertips to curl. Placing whatever you need on top of the eyes if you want to block out some of the light. And we'll punctuate the start of our restorative practice by taking a few full breaths. When you're ready, inhale, breathing in through your nose, filling the chest, the belly, the lungs. Exhale, let it go through your mouth. allowing yourself about 2 more breaths like this, breathing in to fill up, breathing out. There might even be a sigh out as you exhale. And again, once more, inhaling. And exhaling to release. Continuing to breathe in and out through your nose. Allowing each exhalation to be an opportunity to let go of any unwanted tension, unwanted tightness carried in the body from the week so far. Breathe out, allowing the skin across the forehead to soften. As you breathe out, allowing the muscles around the eyes and the jaw to soften. As you breathe out, allowing the abdomen to be soft. As you exhale, allowing legs, arms, pelvis, torso, and head to be heavy. And there's a sense of the physical body being supported by props beneath the body. Allowing the inhale to match up to the exhale. So maybe you're breathing in for the count of 5 and then breathing out for the same count of 5. I'm going to leave you here in a brief period of silence. But as I'm silent, just please know that I'm right here with you, and you'll hear my voice very, very soon. 3 more breaths in here. Taking a breath in through your nose. And then releasing that breath. If and when you feel ready to move, so it's fine if your body is craving this shape for a little bit longer. If you feel ready to move, we're going to start by moving at a pace that doesn't disturb the piece that we've created too much. So we'll start by bending both legs if they're extended forwards. If you've got the knees out towards the side, using the hands to guide the knees back together, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to roll over towards one side, but keep the side body on the props. Just kind of shuffling over towards the side. But again, we're going to keep the side body either lying on the pillows or the bolster. Maybe you bend the bottom arm to rest your head. Just take a moment on your side. Kind of gather yourself. And then carefully using one of the palms followed by the other to lift yourself back up into comfortable seated position. And just as a way of easing some tension out of the knees, just bring the hands back behind you. So kind of like you're in a sunbathing shape, fingertips reaching towards the back of whatever you're lying on, bed or mat. Feet come a little bit wider than hip width apart. And just allow the knees to gently windscreen wiper over towards one side, back through symmetry, and then over towards the other. Don't worry too much about how far the knees fall. It can be quite a subtle movement left to right, maybe a little bit wider. If you like to travel some of this movement up the length of the spine, you might start to reach the arm back behind you just to bring a little bit of twist into the torso. Again, this is just optional. And then we'll go the other side as well. So keep this movement going. And then once this movement feels complete for you, we'll come back into stillness and move into our next restorative, our final restorative posture. So it's quite nice to fold forwards and curl in after opening up through the spine a little bit, back bending. So we're going to come into supported caterpillar pose, which is coming up to seated, feet, knees about hip width apart. I'm going to show you lots of different options of how you want to take this posture. If you don't want any support, hands can come onto knees or thighs. You can tuck the chin in towards the chest, slide the hands down the length of the legs, and just allow the spine to round. This is a little bit more of a yin posture. If you want a supported restorative one, we're going to bring the pillows, stack them one on top of the other, and then just snug them in towards the torso, so in towards the belly. Option one, having them horizontally. Elbows can rest on top of your bolster or your props. Feet nice and relaxed, and then just allowing the spine to round once more. And you've got that support of the props in the belly area to support that forward fold. Another option is to take the pillows vertical on top of the legs. Hands can rest on top of your pillows, and then this might give you a little bit more leverage to sink a little bit deeper into the fold. You can keep adding props to bring the floor up towards you. So maybe a cushion and a blanket, and that might be quite nice to rest your head on. You can even add bricks here, one on top of the other if you've got access to bricks, and rest your head on there. If you've got a bolster, it might be quite nice to bring the bolster just in between the legs, have it on in a diagonal position, and then rest your forehead on the bolster. That's only if you have access to a bolster. Okay, so just trying out a couple of options, seeing what works for you. Again, remembering we're not pushing into a very deep stretch here. We're just resting on the edges of sensation and just trying to relax the body, the main thing in restorative yoga. And you might try out a couple of options and decide it's not really working and try something else out. If folding forwards doesn't feel quite nice for your spine today, then just come to lie down on the back of the body. The main thing is that you feel relaxed and comfortable where you are. So comfort is very important here. And it's not really about folding really far forwards here. It's just about facilitating a rounding through the spine. Once you've found your comfy shape, option to close the eyes or just relax the gaze downwards. Take a breath in through your nose and then releasing that breath out, maybe through the mouth. Allowing yourself 2 more breaths like this. Encourage you to have a sense of fullness to your breath. Beginning to breathe in and out through your nose. I'll guide you through a meditation on creating space in the mind. So you can choose to take part, or if you'd rather not take part, then just be aware of my voice in the background. As thoughts arise, which they inevitably will, imagining them like tiny pebbles. See yourself drop each pebble into a clear pool of water. Watch the pebble sink down slowly towards the pool, towards the floor of the pool. Creating space between you and your thoughts. And feeling a sense of lightness and levity as those heavier thoughts sink down to the bottom of the floor. Once again, leaving you in some sweet silence. at any point you need to move out of the fold or sink deeper, you're very welcome to. Three more breaths in. Taking a breath in through your nose and then releasing that breath out through your mouth. If and when you feel ready to move, we'll start by just lifting the spine, each vertebrae at a time, so you can slide the hands back down the length of the legs, maybe the props. Lift the head arrives above the shoulders, and then slide your props to one side as we just come into a comfortable seated position. So cross-legged, or keep the legs stretched out. So sometimes that forward fold can build a bit of tension through the neck. So just easing some tension away, allowing the head just to tilt over towards one side and then back through center over towards the opposite direction. Maybe even start to incorporate a few circles of the neck here. So you're circling the neck above the shoulders, clockwise, maybe anti-clockwise. Another quite nice option is to allow the head to float over towards one side and then just massage the part of the neck that's open using the opposite hand. So just kind of kneading that side of the shoulder, almost like you're kneading dough. When we're feeling exhausted, we can build a lot of holding and constriction through the shoulders and the neck area. So any kind of TLC for this area can help to relax the body a little bit more. And then if you've done that on one shoulder, just shifting towards the other side, especially concentrating on that fleshy part of the shoulder where the shoulder just meets the neck. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then once this massage feels complete for you, again, please keep going until you feel ready. You can even use both hands down the length of the neck and out towards the shoulders. Quite a nice option. We're going to come down for a nice long shavasana from here, nice long relaxation. So I recommend having a little bit of support underneath the knees. So you keep massaging if you want, and I'm just going to demonstrate what your shavasana will or should look like. When I come to lie down on the back of the body, if you've got a bolster or pillows, have them underneath the knees. This just elevates the legs a little bit, so brings the spine into a bit more of a neutral shape. If you want to have some cushioning underneath the head, I recommend not using a cushion, but using a blanket. So bringing it out to kind of like a rectangle shape and then sliding that underneath. So we want to keep the head in contact with the bed, the mat, whatever you're practicing on, but try not to elevate the head too much. You want to keep the spine in line. Make sure you've got access to your eye covering if you want to cover the eyes. And then coming to lie back and just bearing in mind that if lying on your back doesn't feel safe or comfortable for you for any reason, then you can come to lie on your side or on your front instead. So some people like to take a bolster or pillows in between the legs if you want to come lie on your side. If you're pregnant, taking this option, definitely. Otherwise, get comfy on the back of your body. Covering the eyes is optional. And we'll start our relaxation by taking a slow breath in through your nose and then releasing however feels comfortable for you. Let your attention rest in the heart area. Feeling the experience of your heart right now. And then with that attention, let there be a gentle inquiry. What is my intention for the rest of the week? How do I want to feel? Feelings do I want to cultivate? And just see what happens when you inquire. No pressure to find the answers right now. Even if nothing comes up for you, just that simple act of checking in helps to build that sense of introspection. Letting go of that intention. Shavasana on the surface looks quite simple. You're just lying down, not really doing much. On the inside, it's a little bit more complex. Just let the mind wander in and out of thoughts. When you feel like you've been drifting for too long, just sensing the attention grounding back down into your body. So it's almost like this downward motion back into your body, lying on the ground or whatever surface you're lying on. Nothing else to do but rest and breathe. I'll keep time for us. Enjoy this moment of completely relaxing. beginning to deepen your breath, perhaps taking a slightly sweeter, deeper breath in and out. And before you start moving, maybe just contemplating the question, how can I do less this week? Allowing that contemplation to kind of rest in your heart space as you begin to invite some gentle movement to your body. So you might start with rubbing the thumb on each fingertip, maybe flexing and pointing the feet. You might want to take a full body stretch here, interlacing the fingers, pushing the palms away from the body. Maybe a yawn. And then drawing the knees in towards the chest, or you can reach the legs up towards the ceiling, maybe flexing and pointing the feet a couple of times, perhaps even coming into full gravity pose, arms, legs reaching up towards the sky, a few movements through the ankles and the wrists. And then when you feel ready, we'll draw both knees in towards the chest and just allow yourself to float off to one side. So whichever side feels more natural for you. Taking a moment on your side so there's no rush to come up to seated, just to gather yourself. And then carefully pressing yourself up into a comfortable seated position, facing roughly this way. Head can be heavy, eyes can be closed. Hands can rest whatever feels most comfortable for you. Maybe hands in Hridaya Mudra, one on top of the other, on top of the heart space. And just gently bowing the head down towards your heart and thanking you and your body for your practice today. Silently repeating to yourself in your head, may I be well. May I be safe. May I be at ease. Take a nice full breath in. Exhale, let it go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for this practice. It's normal to feel a bit spaced out after restorative yoga, maybe a bit raw, a bit tender if you haven't practiced it in a long time. Don't worry, all your feelings are completely natural. Just be really gentle to yourself, and you should be feeling back to normal in a couple of hours. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know, and hopefully see you all very soon. Are you all feeling okay?
Yeah, thank you, Tash.
Yes.
Very soon.
Lovely.
Very, very relaxing. Thank you.
Good, good. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.
And you
Thank
take
you
care.
so much.
Bye. See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.